So I'm sure you've heard of the Indian super prodigy Pragg as of late. Even though he's only 18, he's already playing in the World Cup finals. It's just insane. He's the youngest ever to do so, and he's definitely in the race for the world champion title. Now today, I'd like to take you back in time to 2014 when Pragg had half of his age. He was only 9 years old when this game was played, but as you'll see, he was already an absolute beast. This game was played on the World Junior Championship. Pragg had the white pieces, and his opponent was Slaven Pastor. He was more than double his age. He was 20 years old at the time, and yeah, he went on to become an international master. Now Pragg starts the game with d4, and after c5 we have a classic Sicilian. Pragg continues with knight f3, we have e6, and here he doesn't go for the classic open Sicilian. Instead, he goes for this more closed like knight to c3. And here Slaven plays a6, which again is also a very traditional move in the Sicilian because it hopes to prepare this b5 thrust, which just helps gaining a lot of space here on the queen side. Also perhaps black can develop his bishop this way, but Pragg really isn't in the mood for any of that, so he just plays a4 and stops everything. So both sides now just continue with normal development. We have knight to c6, bishop to e2, and Slaven here goes for d5. And often in the Sicilian, as black, if you get d5, you're usually doing pretty good, so he doesn't waste that opportunity. Pragg takes, we have e takes on d5, e takes on d5, and he's about to just get swarmed with these pawns if he isn't careful, so he just plays d4 and also gains some presence in the center. Here, Slaven decides to close the position, he plays c4, and Pragg just cancels. Now here, bishop to f5 is played, which is a very logical move. Now that this a4 has been played, white has no way of defending this b4 square, so black is just gonna try to play knight b4 and stack here on c2. But perhaps this allows Pragg too much counter activity here in the center. You'll get what I mean. Here he plays rook to e1, which comes with a fairly straightforward threat. It just wants to, give a discovered check and completely collapse black's center. So obviously he won't allow it. So Avon just plays bishop e2, just closing everything. And after bishop f4, we have knight f6, preparing castling. But this allows for a very nice move for Pragg. I mean, if you want, pause the video. It's not a game-winning move per se, but it's a very interesting move. Okay, so even though it's only move 11, and this is the first major tournament for Pragg, like, come on, he's 9 years old, he plays like he means it. He's not gonna cower it in fear. He plays bishop takes on c4, and even though bishop e7 was played to prevent this bishop takes on c4 to come with check, he plays it anyways, because now black kinda has to take this bishop, otherwise he lost a pawn for nothing, so we have d takes on c4, but now Pragg's idea comes in mind, and he plays d5 just crashing through. Now Stockfish here says the best move is just to castle and give the piece back in exchange for the king's safety, because in the game Slaven got a little bit greedy and played knight b4. And again, this is kind of a natural move because you put pressure here on c2, which was your original pawn to begin with, and you also put a ton of pressure here on this d5 pawn. So apparently all is well. Well, let's see, because Pragg continues crashing through, he plays d6, and now this bishop is really in a world of trouble. Here he tries bishop takes on c2, hitting the white queen, but Pragg just sidesteps and asks what the black guy is doing, because here he doesn't really have a lot to do. With this crashing attack here in the center, black is just about to be murdered. Even if he tries running now, it doesn't help, because after pawn takes, this comes with a fork, and even if black tries to trade, first we have pawn takes rook, and this comes with a check. So after rook takes queen, knight takes queen, Pragg is just up a queen rook at the end of the day, so it's too late for running away now. Black just has to admit his mistakes and try to find another way out of this. So after queen to d2, Slaven goes knight to g8, just trying to hold on for dear life with this bishop. Like, knight to g8 is such a sad move to make, just undeveloping your pieces, but it's just trying to protect them. Now the problem with knight to g8 is that you remove a key defender here from this d5 square, so Pragg just slides in. And even though Slaven could, simplify the position and go for knight takes on d5, well, now the queen is just getting in, and perhaps even now knight g5 ideas, and Along with his mighty pin here on the e-file, black is gonna have a ton of problems, so he decided not to go for this, and instead he goes for knight to d6, which kind of forks his rook and this bishop. However, it doesn't really help. It kinda is just too late at this point, because Pragg goes for this fork here, he plays knight to c7, king goes to f8 trying to hide, but first, instead of just knight takes rook, he takes this bishop, he finally gives up this mighty brave pawn. We have pawn takes on e7, this comes with a fork with the king and the queen, so the knight really has to take. But now after knight takes rook, it's so sad, the queen can't even take this knight. If we had queen takes knight, just bishop d6 and this knight is dead. So in the game, instead of queen takes knight, black tried going for knight to d5, removing this problem of the knight, also hitting this annoying bishop, but Pragg now just simplifies the game. He goes for queen takes bishop, and after knight takes bishop, well, we can see that Pragg is up +4, so just has to find a clean way to convert. And that's exactly what he does. He will finish the game in like 5 moves. It's insane. Here goes for queen takes pawn, and it suddenly seems that this knight here on a8 is now hanging. Now there's no problem with the knight on e7, so yeah, Slaven just naively takes the knight, he puts queen takes on e8, but now rook e to d1. He puts pressure on this knight here on d3, so Slaven just rotates his knights, he plays knight to e2 check, king f1, knight d to f4, protecting the knights, and all seems to be well. I mean, sure, Pragnananda is +2, however, at least Slaven isn't dead. I mean, sure, he has a terrible rook here in the corner, but yeah, but nothing. But Slaven is just dead. Here, Pranananda goes for knight to e5 and the game is just over. This threatens mate here on f7. There's no good way to defend it without losing a ton of material. For example, queen to e8, just straight up defending mate, doesn't work because Pragnananda, 9-year-old Pragnananda would just sacrifice the rook and the game would be over. This rook sacrifice just aims to, pin the queen to the king and deflect her from the defense of f7, so the game would just be completely over here. And the other alternative to blocking mate here would be for Slaven to go knight e6, just blocking the diagonal, but this undefends this knight here on e2, so after queen takes on e2 again, Pragnananda is just a +5, so yeah, the game is completely over. So it was in this position after knight b5, in move 23, that Pragnananda, 9-year-old Pragnananda, again, I can't reinforce that fact enough, it's just insane, won his second game in a major tournament, and yeah, what a way to do it, with a brilliant move in like, move what? Move 11. It's just amazing. That was another episode of looking into the past of these chess legends nowadays. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hate to ask this, but if you watched this far, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel. And yeah, catch you in the next one. Bye.